Hi, I'm Dr. Kevin Tharp. Today we're going to be talking about information and communication technology. And we're going to start with the really academic stuff of kind of defining it. But my goal in this series of information that you're going to be exposed to here is to go past that sort of very dry definition sort of stage and really start talking about information and communication technology and go to the roots, and with the idea of trying to help you to understand sort of why we have these systems that we use that fall together in the area of information and communication technology. So the first place we're going to start with is the definition of technology. This is just from a search on Google. It happens to be from Oxford. The application of scientific knowledge for practical purposes, especially in industry. Any of these definitions is going to have some area where I don't completely agree. That's not as important as starting to get an idea about what it's talking about. So it's the use of scientific knowledge to benefit industry in this case. If I'm a musician and I'm trying to build a drum, that's not in industry. So that's the part that I don't agree with in here, and that's neither here nor there. But another definition, this is the one that we're using in the ICT class, is there's a series of them there. I won't read them, but techniques, skills, methods, process used, and again it goes to in the production of goods or services and the accomplishment of objectives such as scientific investigation. Again, the focus on the commercial aspect of it. Technology is not necessarily commercially driven, though it does. That's where the innovation often comes from, the desire to make more money. The next area that I want to go to is my definition. My definition kind of moves away from that. It's not as specific, it's not as academic, but it's a little easier to sort of start to wrap your head around. And that is the purposeful change and use of things in the natural world to provide some type of benefit. So I'm not specifying a sector, an industry, or an area that it's useful for. I'm just saying that it's providing some type of benefit. So the purposeful change and use of things in the natural world to provide some type of benefit. Technology. So this is an ICT class. ICT is Information and Communication Technology. This is the definition that is in Wikipedia at the time when I am recording this. And it's an extension of the term for information technology that stresses, and this is important, the role of unified communication and the integration of telecommunications and computers, as well as the necessary enterprise software, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The important part about this is, again, it's to help us to communicate with each other. Ultimately, that is the goal. The important difference between IT and ICT is that emphasis on the use of the technology rather than in the creation or management of that technology. And ICT has overlap with those areas, but this is a good place to start with an understanding that we're looking at using the technologies that we're going to be talking about. Now, in the materials that you're provided for the ICT class, this is one of the things you see, ICT umbrella, hardware, software, telecom, networking, and internet. Again, this focuses on the technology itself, whereas ICT is focused as much on the use of that technology as the technology itself. So this is just Dr. Tharp's version of ICT, where you need to make sure that the focus on using the technology is understood, because it's not about creating the technology so much as it is in utilizing that technology for something that you're trying to accomplish. And so there's one last thing I want to get into of the dry stuff is the definition of systems, because that's really what we're talking about here. A system is a group of things that are working together in some way to accomplish a goal. So the words that are on the screen here basically say the same thing, but it's a group of parts or pieces or processes that work together to try and accomplish a goal. And sometimes you'll have a lot of systems. So there's systems of systems. You take your cell phone, for example, and there are a lot of different types of systems that are built into that system. And it gets really complicated, but one of the ways of breaking it down and trying to understand it better is to separate the systems into their component systems and trying to understand how those work. So that's what I'm going to be doing starting in the next video and through the rest of this discussion.